as they say, light this candle. So welcome everybody. Good morning. My name is Mike Florence. I'm with KIS. I'm an account manager, senior account manager at KIS. And I want to assume, hopefully rightfully, that most of you know who KIS is. We're a IT solution provider doing business in the greater Northern California area and beyond. We've been in business since 1988, which I think is a pretty strong statement for being a solution provider, VAR, reseller, consultancy. We've helped a wide variety of customers over the years with all their IT needs, be it compute, cloud, storage, networking, and mainly these days, security. And wanted to just extend an opportunity or invite you to talk to us if you don't know who we are, or if you have an issue coming up that perhaps we can help you with. But the star of the event today is our friends from Veeam. And most of you should know who Veeam is. They are the global leader in data protection. They are #1 worldwide. They are in 81% of the Fortune 500 companies. They have over 200 top industry awards. And I'm going to be a little gracious here. They claim that they have 400,000 plus customers worldwide. I'm going to say they're approaching 500 million. I'm just going to put it out there. And they're a great company, been around a long time. We do a lot of business with them. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Joe and Brett from Veeam and kick it off with your presentation. Oh, I think we have a
yes.
trivia question first. And by the way, there are a total of 6 trivia questions coming up throughout the presentation. The first 4 will be rewarded by a $25 gift card. The last 2, we're going to kick it up, and those are going to be rewarded with a $50 gift card. So what is the first question there, Jane?
Yes, let's get started. So you will punch in your answer to the poll that will just be pop in a few seconds. So Howard, this is our first questions. Go ahead, read it out loud. So my coworker
clicked on an email from someone he didn't know, asking for personal information, and it's blocking my question. So
it turns out to be an attack known as a word, spooning, phishing, or clocking. And now you have 10 seconds to.
Clocking, yeah, spooning. That's an interesting one. Wow.
I don't think we're still adding one on that one.
All right, so we got good job. We have 100% people answer correctly. It's phishing.
Yes, with a
yes.
H. Okay, so we progressed beyond the first question, and so now Joe, Guitar Joe, as we're going to call you, and Brett, kick it off.
Thank you. Hi everybody, my name is Joe Gio. They call me a technical partner manager for Veeam. I work directly with partners like KIS, one of my favorite in the Bay Area. And then I'm on with Brett Gavin, senior system engineer for NorCal. He'll be doing the color commentary. Thanks, KIS, for having us on. We really appreciate this. Let me get this question off of my plate here. And that actually happened. That's a real thing that just recently happened. I think my coworker's on the call right now, but I don't know about you, but these things are getting really nasty, right? You're getting things from Amazon, your trusted bank, right? Office 365. They are trying every which way to loose to get through and infect our network. So we want to kind of talk to you about, ways to avert that. What's going on, and what you can do to, avoid getting infected, because it's a big deal. Everybody's hearing about it one way or the other. So let me go ahead and share this screen. There, share. And let's get this thing going. All right. So here's the agenda, kind of rough overview of what's ransomware, who we are, and we're going to try to tell you. Of course, I get a phone call as soon as this happens. And we're going to tell you
They're phishing.
they're
You gotta
fishing.
switch your switch
Yeah.
your display settings. It's
All
showing
right.
the presenter view.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Let me do this and do this. How about that?
No. Switch Zoom to show the other monitor.
All right. Zoom, sorry about that. You are sharing screen. Stop share.
We are live.
Okay, which screen can you see here? Can you see? Let's do this.
See the empty one, no icons.
All right.
Do you see the PowerPoint?
No.
Okay, how about now?
Yep.
All right. So you see the agenda?
Yep.
Yep, we're good.
All
Cool.
right, let me minimize these. All right, yeah, who we are and what you can do about it. All right, so over the last 10 years, the security industry has realized ransomware protection requires a layered security defense, right? While the initial attack vector hasn't changed, with over 80% of email on the internet being spam, we've just accepted that attacks are going to get through, right? Think about this. The attackers have to make a small investment and have an unlimited amount of time to attack you, and only need to be successful once to make it a profit, right? Defenders, on the other hand, you have to be 100% accurate 100% of the time, and to avoid any kind of breach. It's pretty much impossible. So security teams are investing in response tools, right, and services to react faster once a breach is detected. But the programs all include, restoration from data from a reliable backup, to ensure that this attack has been contained. And over the years, this hasn't been the case. So I'd like to think that finally backup can be taken seriously. It's not just an insurance policy, to keep your business up. The bottom line is you have to have a verifiable and immutable backup system as your last line of defense against ransomware and any of these modern attacks, so that you can, set up a defense mechanism against them. What is ransomware effectively? All right, we've got a lot of different options with regard to how we can get attacked. We've got a lot of defenses in place. So why is ransomware so successful, right? The obvious reason is it's being created and evolving faster than it can be detected, right? Yeah. Anti-malware providers see up to 1 million new pieces of malware per day. Even if it were possible, just catch 99% of those, you're still missing 1% or 10,000 threats each day, right? The other issue is many companies don't look at security comprehensively, and they're forced to build holes in their defense to meet business requirements, or their networks are just so complex that, vulnerabilities are all built into the fabric, right? So based on the last 10 years, these are the top 7 reasons attacks have been successful, right? Alert fatigue. You guys that are monitoring the network, you're seeing all sorts of alerts come through, and every now and then you see so many, you're bound to miss one, right?
Right.
Missing patches, another reason, right? You're not updating your systems except in the maintenance window, right? Ransomware doesn't wait for you to update those patches, right? So it's this cat and mouse game that just doesn't stop, right? Poor password policy, right? We use admin accounts for day-to-day work, or use simple passwords. And then we don't have 2-factor authentication a lot of the time. So we do here, but,
so do we.
Everyone should have it. Yeah, exactly. You pretty much have to have it, right?
Right.
Then there's flat networks, right? This lack of segmentation, right? That allows malware to spread really easily. And then some networks are so complex that segmentation is pretty much impossible. So it's kind of an all or nothing approach. And that puts, companies at risk. Now, here's where we come in, right? Untested backups, right? If you don't follow best practices, you'll find that your data isn't accessible when it's needed. And now, I don't know if I mentioned, but I cover California. So I hear a lot of things happen out there. You'd be surprised at kind of the simple mistakes that are being made out there that allow your data to be vulnerable. And then misconfigurations, right? Routers, security devices, with default passwords and configs. And then lastly, inconsistent policies between what's happening in the data center what's happening in the cloud, right? Is there anything I missed here, Brett? Is this pretty on point?
No, this is a good segue into where we're going, and where we are today versus where Veeam is actually going also in version 12, which is coming out very soon.
Yes, can't wait. All right. So we, Mike already kind of talked about this, but I feel it's important to show. Here we are. It's a small chart, but really, what I'm trying to say is, Veeam's been around for a long time.
Yep.
Veeam was founded in 2006 and has been in this Magic Quadrant, a leader for 6 times now. Most recently, just a few months ago. So founded in 2006. We've been a Magic Quadrant leader 6 times. That's a big deal. I'm not going to get too much into this, but one of the things that I get asked a lot is, what are differentiators versus the other guys? And one of the main ones is we've been around for a long time. We have about 500 million, but we have a lot of customers, a lot of different customers that use our products. So, why not stick with the guys that have been doing this for a long time and are finding a lot of success, right? You see the other guys on there, but we just keep doing it over and over. Some of the customers. Oh, somebody gonna say something? All right, some of the customers, right? I'd like to throw this on up here so you can see we've been the #1 choice for customers across the globe, right? For more than 10 years, 15 years. We're across all market sectors, verticals. Providing backup and data protection for some of the most important brands, right? So Veeam works with all size companies, the SMB, commercial, and enterprise.
Right.
All right, let's talk about ransomware. It is a disaster, right? I think we can all agree that it is a disaster, right? I mean, I can't tell you, I had a customer recently that lost data on Christmas Eve. Right, got locked out of their network on Christmas Eve, and it was just a total fire drill to try to help them.
Right.
There were things they could have done and they didn't do. So this is just as bad as fire, flood, or natural disaster. If you ask me, it's the threat of ransomware just seems more tangible. Active defenses are only going to block so much, and we have to assume these defenses will be breached or that they already are, right? So we believe that the best offense is a solid defense against ransomware. So everything we do is designed to help you build a strategy for protecting your data. We provide you with data security solutions that can help you ensure that your data is safe, is available when you need it, right? What good is your data if you can't access it, right?
Right.
So to help do this, we give you options like protecting your data with immutable storage. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll detect and monitor your data for threats, giving you visibility to your existing defenses and ensure the data you restore isn't going to introduce a threat. And then most importantly, we provide testing and verification, right? I think one of the most important things to do is to not just restore, but make sure that restore is going to be virus-free, malware-free as best you can.
That testing and verification process is something that is and was really useful for me. I previously was in the customer role prior to Veeam. I was a systems administrator, systems engineer for public education entity for almost 14 years. And we've been a Veeam customer since 2009, 2010, something like that. It was quite a long time. And prior to that, we used other products that legacy products that were not, they really didn't cut the mustard. Many of you probably have used Backup Exec. That was one of our main tools, and we didn't have a testing and verification process from that tool. The testing and verification was me, and my capacity with the 39 other hats that I had to wear to actually go out and perform some restore functions to see, was the VM backed up, which we were having to use agents to back up VMs. That was fun. Was it backed up, and could I actually restore the VM? Would it boot? That was always really dicey. Even just restoring individual files was something that I could never truly rely on, which is where Veeam's testing sure backup process, the sure backup and secure restore processes, that whole workflow allows us to automate the I keep using the word testing, but really that's what it is. Automate that testing to verify that your restore is not only successful, which you're going to get that notification. Yes, the backup was successful, but get that notification that hey, the VM was able to be restored into the environment. It was able to be booted. We had a series of tests run against it. You can add in custom tests, testing steps and scripts if you want to expand that capability. But being able to have that let you know that, hey, everything that you have wanted to protect, it is protected, and we know we can bring that service online in a very short amount of time.
Right. Now, were you setting up disaster recovery too, or were you just testing your backups, just kind of hoping that, hey, if the server goes down, at least I have a copy, or did you have a failover to a cloud or something?
We did not have a failover to cloud. It was an on-prem policy.
Okay.
So we had two locations. One was at my data center, and the other one was at a data center that we had a shared agreement with at another education agency. And so we would do testing and failover to the far side over at that other data center.
Interesting. I'd be curious to know who on this call has disaster recovery set up. Should have been a poll question. Anyway, I move on. Thanks for the input. All right. So what is Veeam? Veeam is software only and is storage agnostic, right? Let me build this out here. So we can do all this because our solution is created to be flexible, right? You're in control of things like storage, configurations will let you fit your backup into your existing environment. So you don't have to re-architect the network to fit the backups in. The benefits to this are obvious. You can scale the solution to meet your needs. You don't have to maintain multiple storage platforms, which helps you keep your operational costs contained.
Right.
So, I say this, I can't say this enough. There's a good reason that Veeam's been around for a while. I think flexibility is probably top 3, right? You don't have to buy a box with us. You can pick your own. You can buy a new one. You can use existing. Really depends how you want to architect this, right? So, unless we have anything else, I think I've given you the information. Let's get on to this next set of trivia questions.
Trivia question number 2. Here we go. This is for $25. First one with the correct answer wins. And
Yes, just 1 second. Let me.
I'm looking for it. I'm looking for the poll, wherever it is.
Yes, just a second. There you go. And question number 2.
how many
I know this
times-
one.
Yes, I think I know it too. How many times has Gartner named Veeam as a Magic Quadrant leader for enterprise backup and recovery software solutions?
I know this.
I do too. I have a slide that shows it right here. Survey says, survey
Is it 4,
Ooh.
2, 6, 11?
Oh,
21, hike.
Yes, there you go. And Paul, 10 seconds.
11.
And of course it's 6.
11.
Probably someday. Thank you for the 11.
Yes. Share results. Yes. No, it's not 11. It's 6. And we got about 2 people that got it right. Congratulations to those people.
All right. So
All right.
one of those 2 is going to get a $25 gift card. Yay. Oh, are we going on to another?
Yep.
Yes. Question number 3.
Okay. Veeam works best with which size companies? Small, medium, large, enterprise, universal?
Quick. Oh, yeah, they were quick on this one.
Yeah. Because Guitar Joe called this out earlier.
I tried to make it obvious.
Oh, look at that. You did a good job, Joe.
Thank you. There you go. D, all of the above. Yay. Awesome. All right, now we're
Nice
back
job.
to the trivia. I mean, I'm sorry, to you guys, Joe.
Joe and Brett.
Let's see. Can you guys still see the screen?
Not yet.
No.
I also have to reshare. Got it.
Yep.
Let's see if I get this right. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Trivia questions.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so let's just talk a couple of things that you may or may not have heard about before. But first thing is, ultra resilient, right? I'm not going to go too much into it, but this term resilient and trusted immutability, they're going hand in hand. Like, what is it? A storage media that has high levels of likelihood to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change, such as ransomware, right? So what we want to do is just give you a couple of examples of this. I've heard of resilient, ultra resilient. Let's see what we consider ultra resilient media types, right? So you've got Veeam, and Brett will go into these a little bit, but Veeam ready object with immutability, right? You may have heard of worm, write once, read many. Now, why is that important, right? Because ransomware needs to write to attack you, right? So if you make it so you can't write to your data, or they can't do it, right? Worm storage snapshots, right? This Four Eyes recovery, I think it's a hilarious name for this, but I like it. I can go a lot of different directions with that, but I won't, right? Two people, verify your restore. Cloud Connect, right? This is for some of our service providers. The Veeam hardened repository. And then, of course, the obvious one being offline or air gapped, right? So, nobody could literally touch it. Brett, is any of these you want to chime in on here?
Yeah, so let's take a look at the top left real quick. Veeam ready object with immutability. So this is going to be your object storage providers. Could be an AWS, Wasabi, Backblaze, soon to be Azure also will be coming. A lot of service providers like KIS also offer S3 services, object storage services, as part of their Cloud Connect or service provider offering. So you'll want to talk to those, talk to your team at KIS to find out, what that looks like. Immutability in that scenario means that not only can you store it in an object format rather than storing it in file-based format on disk, but the immutability option allows you to prevent modification or deletion of that data inside of that object storage location, helping you create the next best thing to a truly offline air-gapped solution, which would be down in the lower right corner or near the corner, offline air-gapped media copies on disk. You can think about that like similar to tape. When the tape is ejected, it's offline. It can't be modified. Save actually you hitting it with a hammer to damage that tape. The data can't be modified, can't be deleted. Immutability gives you that same protection. It's very similar to the on the physical tapes. It's either marked with a software switch or a physical switch that prevents the tape from being reused while the switch is in that position. So the hardened repository over on the right, it's not just hardened being a security aspect of access to the service, to the server, and disabling and protecting the services that are running on that box. But that hardened repository also provides immutability, just like object storage and just like that worm option. Four Eyes recovery, I think Joe covered this a little bit. It's not about Joe's glasses. It's about about having two extra people, there it is, two people to actually call in or be able to provide that authorization, that identification and authorization to complete the activity that needs to be done. So if that, think about it like you've seen the movies with the nuclear codes. They've got the keys, and one guy has one key and the other guy has the other key, and they're across the room from each other. They got to both flip at the same time. That's the same type of idea here with 4 eyes recovery. It requires 2 people to do that job. The one that's highlighted in orange down in the bottom right corner, it's labeled caution for a good reason. Replication is not backup. Veeam provides replication, and that helps you recover from an immediate outage of an individual VM running in one environment, and be able to fail over to another VM with great speed and expediency there. Replication, though, based on its nature, they're the same. So I mean, it's the back of my hand, but they're the same. They're going to be kept in sync at whatever interval that you choose. So if something bad happens to number 1, or if data is removed, I'm sorry, let me put it this way. If data is removed from number 1, it's going to be removed from number 2 the next time that sync interval happens. That's the difference between backup. Backup allows you to restore that data to that replica, or to a living production VM. But it's not the same thing as true backup. Replication also is running in your production environment. Backup allows you to keep a copy of that data somewhere else. Object storage, tape, cloud connect provider like KIS, offline disk, something like that. Whereas the replicas are going to be both running in the production environment, just like in my environment previously as a customer, I had location A and location B. So I'd have those VMs running in both places. Storage snapshots. A lot of people think, oh, I'm protected because I have storage snapshots. There's even a SAN vendor that Google snapped up a couple of years ago that made a lot of their money based on telling their customers that we protect your data with the snapshots. It's good. It's fine. We have the snapshots stored over in this logical partition of the system, or this logical area of the system. It's not true. The snapshots are running on the production environment. They're running on that production hardware. So if you have power supply failure on one side, you're living on that other power supply, or a controller failure, now you're living on the backup controller. You're sitting there hanging out, waiting for another failure while you're waiting for the hardware to be fixed. Storage snapshots with regard to being able to roll back data. Rolling back your data is only as good as that system that it's running on top of. So again, it's still running in the same location. It's not truly a secondary copy. And there's a series of numbers that Joe's going to talk about in a minute that will show us just how important and a good strategy for actually protecting your data with multiple copies in multiple locations.
Cool. Thanks, Brett. Good stuff, man. I hope everyone got a little something out of that. A lot of information. Yep. I hope it's not over anyone's head. And if you have any questions, we're always here. KIS, Veeam, we're here to help. All right. So trusted immutability, right? When we talk about immutability, it's kind of on your terms, right? Veeam partners with all these major storage vendors, as well as providing the ability to create your own hardened repository, so you have end-to-end protection. So what do we mean by hardened, right? Basically shut it down from access, including it could be a lot of things, right, Brett? Password protection. This hardened repository is a Veeam software product that allows you to turn a machine into an immutable storage, right?
Joe, question: is that based on a Linux kernel? Is that why you have that logo there?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Brett, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So the hardened repository, a lot of you recognize Tux down there, the penguin on that orange square. It is a hardened repository is going to be running on your favorite flavor of Linux. Most customers choose Ubuntu or Red Hat. Those are the most common ones. Doesn't mean that you're limited to those, but with the Linux operating system that you choose should and needs to have the ability to utilize the XFS file system. XFS provides an option called immutability. There's an attribute flag for the data that's stored on there. And that's what we're able to take advantage of. So we combine leveraging that XFS immutability flag with the hardening processes to secure that box and prevent access to be able to modify that immutability flag once it's set for the given period of time that you set. or that you configure.
So Brett, I'm going to ask right away. It's like, I'm not a Linux guru. What can I still use this? Do I need to be awesome with Linux to be able to install this? I mean, what do you tell customers that are Windows
Yeah,
centric?
you actually don't need to be a Linux guru. It is very simple to install. You know, both Ubuntu and Red Hat have a GUI installer for the operating system, just like Windows does. It takes about 15 minutes to be up and running with that OS at max. And then, you know, another maybe 15 minutes for someone who's not familiar with Linux to be able to go ahead and run the commands to install or configure the hardened repository process. Once it's configured, Veeam uses, as part of the configuration, Veeam uses a set of single-use credentials to protect that box, and only allows a single port of communication over between the Veeam server, Veeam components, and that hardened repository location. SSH access is disabled for standard users. For any users, we only use an SSH key pair once that single-use credential is expired or is utilized. We use that SSH key pair to be able to actually send the data securely over the network to that system. So when following those proper hardening steps, you know, the server and services there are secure, safe to use, safe to rely on, yeah, it's actually a very easy thing to do.
Cool. We have a question from a member of the audience. Ray asks, does Azure Blob also support immutable backup or only Amazon S3?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Ray. Thanks for posing that. The question, or the answer response to that right now is it depends. Azure advertises that they have immutability, but their immutability, which was launched late last year, early this year, is actually at the blob, or at the container level, which is effectively at the bucket level in the object storage lingo. What they have done very recently is put a lot of effort into moving that immutability down to the actual blob level or the object level, which is what Veeam needs to be able to properly and safely protect your environment and store that data in an immutable fashion. When version 12 launches later this year, and we're hoping Q4, we should see Azure immutability become the next immutable object storage location. And so what we're basically waiting on is both teams to finally certify that Azure's immutability option is ready to go, put the rubber stamp on that, and then send it out the door with V12.
Cool. Thank you.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Brett. So as you can see, this is immutability from start to finish. Locally, this performance tier is obviously local, right? Your local restores are your fastest restores typically, right? And then moving it forward through, you know, into the capacity tier, you know, something like an S3 compatible storage like Wasabi or S3, keeping that object lock on there, right? Again, the immutable storage, and then even sending it one more step to the archive tier, right? So this is something that a lot of customers are doing, a lot of different people are considering, is immutability from start to finish. So a little bit about the hardened repo. Okay, I know we kind of talked about it, but this is kind of a screenshot of what it does, right? So let's say someone tries to delete a backup, right? What you're going to do is this thing will pop up and kind of go through the steps of what's actually happening. And because it's set up as immutable, right? If you look at the file within Linux and it has the I flag for immutability, what's going to happen is it's going to fail. You're not going to be able to delete it because it's immutable, right? So they can be deleted, and you can see here on September 11th. So there's a certain number of days you can set these immutability flag for, and then from then on, figure out what you want to do with your data. Brett, any comments?
The only comment that I'll make here is about the root account that's shown in that screenshot there. A lot of customers might say, well, hey, wait a minute. I thought the root account can do anything it wants. Yes, that's absolutely true. And that's part of the hardening process. You're going to secure that root account with a strong password. You're going to disable SSH access for the root account. You're going to make sure that the console itself is physically secured, and that if present, the ILO or DRAC, IPMI is also properly secured so that access cannot be gained to the physical console, even if it's a virtual physical console, but preventing the access to that root account.
Cool.
Got it.
Good stuff.
As you would
Good
do with any system, right?
Yeah, got to make it harden, right?
Mhm.
All right. The same thing here. This is kind of a screenshot of what happens when you configure Veeam, right? You can make your backups immutable for X number of days, and then again move it off site. Move it to archive. The end-to-end thing. I thought I'd include a screenshot here.
Yeah, this is a great screenshot, Joe. It shows just how simple it is to turn on immutability and utilize it for specific workloads. You simply check that box and configure the number of days. Once it's set, even if you, Joe, decided that you were done and you wanted to give me a bad day, and you come in and you change that, you either uncheck the box or you change it from 8 days to 1 day, all the data that was in there previously obeys the timestamp that was set on it when it was created.
Yep, good stuff. Easy to set up. Cool. Thank you. All right, this is, what do we call this? The Veeam area code? Is that what you said, Brett?
Zip code,
not area code. But anyway, 321's been around for a while, right? Modern malware is known to attack the backup layer, so you need to have a process in place, right? So 321's been around for a while, right? Three different copies of data on 2 different types of media with 1 off-site. And then what we add to the equation is one of which is offline, air-gapped or immutable. And then the no errors, what we've been kind of talking about here is the ability to test your backups and make sure that it's safe to restore them. All right, so you can never have enough visibility into your network, right? Our goal is to have every backup job run successfully on the first try. To that end, we provide assurances your backup jobs are running as expected, and if there's any issue, you can be notified immediately. It seems obvious, but it's amazing how many backup job failures are discovered in the middle of an attack, right? So if I want to recover, I need to protect it. So, find all assets, make sure jobs are running, automate and repair the job. I want all that to happen, to A, peace of mind, and B, make sure I can get back in business. So what we do, we offer a tool called Veeam One that, if you don't have it yet, it's awesome. It's for monitoring and analytics, but it gives you visibility into your data protection, right? So you'll get your typical alarms with no backups happen, but you can also get alarms with suspicious activity. For example, maybe a backup is too big, or it took too long.
Possible ransomware activity alarm is a great one. Monitors your VMs and production environment for unusual or specifically unusual activity. High CPU, high disk write. Individually, those are just a busy server or a lot of data being written to disk. But when you have both of those together, most of the time that's a symptom of an encryption operation. Lots of processing to crunch that data, and then lots of random data being written to disk. That's usually encrypted data, the symptom of ransomware being active in your environment.
Right. So we just try to give you as many tools and insight into your backups. It may or may not be ransomware, but we make that available. All right. So this is what we've been talking about in the beginning, right? The worst time to realize your backups are failed is during a crisis, right? But it seems to be the time when teams realize that there's holes in the recovery plan, right? So we provide the ability to create and maintain a comprehensive recovery plan and stress test the plan to give you and leadership confidence, right? And some of these tools include automated testing of recovery. Right? We keep talking about this because it's important, whether you're testing it monthly, quarterly, semi-annually. It's a thing that needs to happen on the regular. So you want to stage your workloads, prior to recovery to ensure that your data is clean and everything works as expected, right? Some of our customers use this feature to actually test software patches, right? So you can have this separate environment where you can actually bring up new versions of code and test it without putting it on the production network, right? So, as you start seeing more attacks like this one happened a while ago, but like the ones on SolarWinds, more people are going to be using this feature to make sure that, there's no ransomware in whatever they're going to put into production.
Yeah.
So,
pardon me, we have one more question. Ray asks, what is the built-in alarm tools called?
Oh gosh, go ahead.
That's going to be Veeam One, ONE. It's actually part of all new purchases of Veeam. It was a tool that was released some, I don't know, what, 6-8 years ago, something like that. Wasn't necessarily included in people's original purchases. They had the option to purchase it separately. But as part of all new purchases, that's baked into the platform, and it is available as part of a license upgrade or not upgrade, but migration from the socket licensing that we used to use over to the new universal license model that provides that portable workload-based licensing, allowing you to back up and move your workloads from on-prem up to cloud, back down to on-prem, between clouds, things like that. Very simple to use.
Cool. Good. Thank you.
And keep in mind, if you're interested in learning more about Veeam One, Veeam provides a lot of hands-on labs, which is about an hour long, maybe less, lab environment that you can set up at your leisure, and kind of it'll walk you through the steps of installing Veeam One, how it works, what it does for you, or we can demonstrate it, right? So the KIS engineers can actually demonstrate the product for you. So keep that in mind, hands-on labs. All right, so yeah, what we want to do is just have DR for all applications, maximize availability, have easy patch testing, and prove compliance. That's a big deal too, right? We want to automate documentation. You get that with Veeam One, and actually our Veeam Disaster Recovery Orchestrator. So you can have like no touch scheduled DR testing, verification of your application, and then you can prove that you have DR preparedness, and then you can avoid RPO and RTO violation, right? So a lot of tools in this one diagram. Too much to talk about in detail today, but just know that we have them available for you.
Cool.
All right, a couple more slides, guys, and we're just about done here. Now, of course, all this is useless if you don't have access to your data center or your servers, right? So many people are surprised that during a ransomware attack, law enforcement can actually seize an entire data center as evidence. It essentially creates a smoking hole scenario, but you can still see the building, right? So our unique approach to data mobility, right, your ability to move your data wherever you need to, helps organizations of all sizes with their data management tasks, right? Providing portability, protection, and restoration of workloads across any cloud or platform, right? Including guidance on, how to best store and archive protected data using the scale options the cloud provides, right? So whether it's, go ahead.
I was just going to say one example beyond, law enforcement, whether that's local or federal law enforcement coming in to help do the investigation on the environment, creating, like you said, that smoking hole in the ground. Not bringing this up from a scare tactic perspective, but I have had a customer. It was the most bizarre ransomware story I had heard or run into. They called us and they needed help restoring their environment from data that they had stored in the cloud, because the ransomware actors who had actually attacked their environment or infiltrated their environment had operated in there for quite a while, detonated it over time, that's normal, expected. But this went all the way down to the hardware level. They actually hijacked the BIOS in the servers and all the way down to the printers and the VoIP phones. So they literally had no hardware. It took them about three or 4 months to be able to start bringing things online back in their environment because they couldn't trust anything that they had.
Did they survive? Did the company
They
survive?
did make it, but it was, yeah, this was a very long, arduous process.
Wow.
You know, like I said, 3 to 4 months for them to be starting to bring anything back online, but it was on-prem. They were able to bring things online in the cloud, but not all workloads can run in the cloud. So that's a different, you know, it was a different type of scenario for them.
Well,
Yeah, it was a drag.
that's ugly, ugly, ugly.
Wow.
Wow.
We see a lot of that. We see a lot of that.
Yep.
So one more slide here. I'm just going to touch upon, you know, there's this thing on the right-hand corner. You can see it here, secure restore, right? We've talked about it a little bit, but really what it entails is taking your backups, opening up a separate environment, right, aside from your production environment, and allowing you to have your antivirus scan through the backup and then figure out what you want to do in case it detects a virus, or if it doesn't, you want to power it on, power it off, all this stuff. So it's part of our data labs feature group. Now, when you buy Veeam, there's so many features and functionalities that customers don't know about. That is one of the most important ones that you should look into when you use Veeam. But here on this slide, you can see VBR, Veeam Backup Replication. That's our main product. Veeam One, we've already been asked about that. That's monitoring and analytics. This one is awesome. Now, I like this one because, and I'm installing this in my lab right now. So it's allowing me to set up what happens to my production environment when things go wrong, right? What's going to boot up first? My domain controller, you know, then am I going to time what happens between the other servers as they boot up? And what I really like about this product is not only does it walk me through those steps, but it creates a runbook, a documentation automatically without needing any input by me other than clicking and moving the servers where I want them to go and boot up to. And then lastly here is, you know, we didn't talk about this, but Veeam also protects Kubernetes environments with our product called Kasten. So talk to KIS about that if any of this hits home, rings home for you. But that's all I got, Brett. Any closing words?
I was just going to say, thanks, Joe. Thanks for describing all this for us today. And while Veeam does have many different options for us, as we can see on the screen, it is, my experience has taught me over the years, this is the most simple and easy to use solution that I have ever used. It really is just a straightforward product. It's our tagline, I think it was customer generated, but our tagline used to be, it just works. That still applies today. You install it and you can go. If you want to do more advanced things, you absolutely can. It doesn't mean that it's going to be complicated. Doesn't mean it's going to be hard. It's straightforward. It's easy to navigate. And if you ever have any questions about it, you can feel free to reach out to the team over at KIS. You can reach out to me directly or Joe.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. Now we'll go back to Jane.
Yes, hello. So this, we actually have 3 questions at the end. I'm sorry, Joe, I forgot that we had, yeah. So this one is $25 worth. And let me just share my screen. Yes. Yes. All righty.
Veeam Backup.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike. No, you go ahead.
Okay, Veeam Backup and Replication. So what is the question?
There we go.
Yep.
What's the question? We're not fooling anybody.
Bunch
of smart people out there.
All right.
Couple of you.
Yeah, so we have actually 10 seconds and we're all done. Sorry, I forgot to. So the answer is hardware agnostic. Ooh, yes. So let me show you. We have yes, 58% of people said correct. Good job. Thank you very much. So next is, there you go. Let me just stop sharing. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, hang on. Veeam's hardened repository protects data against ransomware by making protected data immutable. This is crucial in defending against ransomware because, answers?
We have A, the data can be changed. B, is it proprietary technology? Or C, it prevents forklift upgrades? And or D,
All the above.
all the above? Nope, it's
Psych.
A. Yes, psych. That's a good one. And the day can be changed. All righty. So
All right.
congratulations those who correctly answered.
And I think that was a $50.
Yes, that's
Card.
correct. That was
Okay.
the 51. Yep.
And we have
Yeah.
one more.
Yes, one more.
All right. Backups are only good if they can be restored. This is true. With ransomware being so prevalent, it's more important now than ever to
A, have the money set aside to pay hackers. B, test backup regulatory before restoring them. C, stay positive, then you will never hacked. Or D, have many restore points.
I think C is the right answer.
B.
Way to go.
Yes, that was good. That was good.
So,
Nice.
All right.
all
That
right.
is all.
I forgot I had a sticky note that says, KIS does health checks. If you would
Yes.
like, Mike, you can roll that out, but we can help you with that as well. So don't forget.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we have answered Ray's question, yes, on what is built-in alarm tools called, correct?
Yes.
That's
We
Yes,
did talk
all
about
right.
that, yes.
Yes,
Team one.
good.
Yep.
Yes, all right. Thank you very much.
So in closing, I hope all the participants found value in what was presented today by Joe and Brett with Veeam. And please, if you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll get you the answers or have a great discussion. And if you are a Microsoft 365 customer, which I think most of you probably are, it's a well-known statistic that something like 92% of Microsoft 365 customers are not really backing up completely or securely. So it's something to be aware of. Anyway, that being said, we do have a customer appreciation event coming up on October 20th at our new facility in Fremont. We'd love to see you there. A lot of great technology partners will be on hand, great food, and a lot of information exchange, as well as a lot of swag being given away. So
Look, I love the new location. It's awesome.
thanks. Yeah, it does look
Can't wait for casino night.
well. So Jane, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank
All right.
you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye now.
Appreciate it.